You're listening to Not So Live from Asteroid G. I am your host, Mike Finkelstein. Joined with me, as always, is...
Josh Schaefer, Esquire.
Like the magazine, or is that what we're going for there with that? Or
No, just when people think I'm smarter than I am.
Okay, that's fair. So today, what are we talking about? What were you wanting to talk about?
I don't want to talk about anything. You paid me money and I'm sitting here.
I did not. I bought you food. That was as much as I did. I'm like, hey, let's do a podcast. And you're
I'm not a charity case.
you're like, wow, a podcast, huh? That sounds like something we could waste some time on. And that was about all we did right there. So,
Yes.
Legend of Zelda, that's what we were going to talk about.
I forgot.
Because you actually like those games.
I do not.
Really?
Not really. I like the first 4.
Then why the hell did you want to talk about them?
I didn't.
It was your suggestion!
I just mentioned that it might be cool to talk about Legend of Zelda.
Well, we're talking about it now.
That's fine.
Okay, so the first game.
Yes.
First game in the series.
It was called
The Legend of Zelda. Yes.
Yeah.
It was. Which is not consistent when you're looking at the first games in the series.
Nope.
So, it's worth mentioning that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, so first game in the series, called The Legend of Zelda, as we've established. NES. So, it's considered a classic. How do you feel about that game?
I mean, when I picked up the Nintendo Classic on the Nintendo Classic...
You really, on the Nintendo Classic, you got the Nintendo Classic. It was like a little one stacked on a bigger one, and then you put it on top of the NES itself. So it's like a pyramid of NES.
Yeah. I mean, after I purchased the NES Classic, for the intent of purchasing the NES Classic, I think the third game I played was Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll admit I got the NES Classic, lucky enough to get one. And then I don't know that I've actually played it. I think I booted up once to make sure it worked, and then I went back to playing the SNES Classic.
Oh, it's much better.
Yeah, it has the games I really enjoy.
Yeah, Bubble Bobble, which is a personal favorite, Metroid 1.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I mean, there's some good ones. Metroid is a
Punch
game...
Out.
I mean, we'll probably go talk about Metroid at another point, but Metroid is one of those games that I enjoy and can never get anywhere in it.
It's impossible.
Oh my god! How people have actually managed to figure out how to play that stupid game is beyond me. And I kind of honestly feel the same way about The Legend of Zelda. Like, everyone instantly knows how to get to the first dungeon, because that's the only place you can go.
Yeah.
But, like, once I have finished the first dungeon, which I can finish, it's not that hard a dungeon. It's meant to be your tutorial stage. Once I've finished it, I have no freaking idea where to go. So, like, I understand there's a dungeon 2. I don't think I've ever found it.
Yeah, I think part of it, too, is when you're playing as... I guess more recently as an adult,
30-year-old person trying to go back to that game.
It's tough because I remember when I was a kid, I had a notepad that had like everything, and I kind of hand drew my own maps, and it came with a map too, I think.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I was not a cool kid.
I think you're right. There's like at least one poster I got at one point that had like all the dungeons or something.
Yeah. It was a little bit. It was less. Here's the world. Have fun. Bye.
It was more hand-holding.
It was more a little bit more hand-holding.
Yeah, because you have to feel bad for the people who got that game when it first came out and were just lost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I have a sword. I took this.
The Japanese people playing on the Famicom disc who had to, like, blow into a microphone to kill the Pole's voice and stuff.
Oh.
Yes, I know all about that, despite the fact that I've never made it past Dungeon 1.
Yeah, I mean, I've beat the game once, but, part of being an adult is there's a lot I haven't beat, So.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing of I never managed to beat Final Fantasy 1 on the NES. I got really close a couple times, but I never actually did it. And now that I have them again, I could probably go do it. I don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are better games out there.
If I really want to know what happens, I can watch YouTube.
Yeah, if I'm going to go back and torture myself on a classic game, I'd rather play like the old NES Final Fantasy 2 or 3s just to see how bad they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I know they probably are.
They're not terrible.
Final Fantasy 3, from what I hear, is abso-freaking-lutely impossible. For the NES.
Not
the SNES one.
Okay.
No, we'll use their proper names if we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. I know they re-released on the DS, I think.
It's not really the same game, from what I understand, though.
I mean, it was fun, but I never beat it.
But yeah. So, I mean, Legend of Zelda, the first one is fun. I like watching some of the speedrunners that go through it, like Lack Attack. The guy who has every single world record for that game that you could possibly have.
I didn't know there were records for that game.
Oh, yeah. You go to speedgaming.com. I think it's either .com or .net. It's one of the two. And yeah, there's that guy has beaten Legend of Zelda in 35 minutes.
I can't get through the first dungeon in 35 minutes.
That's like any percent. He'll collect enough of the hearts to get the best sword, and then he'll get the minimum of everything else to try and speed through the game as fast as possible, and he will just destroy that game.
Wow.
Yeah, you should go check those out. Those are some amazing... And the thing is, I see him destroy the game in 35 minutes, I'm like, well, never going to have to do that again.
Yeah.
It's like I watch the people who can beat, Punch-Out in 15 minutes, or beat it in 18 minutes blindfold, and I'm like, well, I saw that. Now I never have to play it. Thank gods. Because Punch-Out's evil, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how bad that was.
Except, and then...
I mean, I love the game.
Oh, yeah.
But...
No, Punch-Out's fun to play, and I can get past Glass Joe and then feel good about my life as I die against everyone else.
Yeah. I usually get stuck with who's the guy after the King Hippo?
Was it Bald Bull again, or was it like the Tiger?
Maybe it's the Tiger. Yeah. I think it's that guy. But
they're all horribly racist stereotypes.
All
of them. That game is that game is racist stereotype, the boxing game. It's bad.
Yeah. Except for Mike Tyson. He somehow made it out okay.
Well, yeah, and then he's replaced by Mr. Dream.
Yeah.
In the next version.
Yeah.
No, and as soon as they lost the license to have Mike Tyson in it, he became Mr. Dream instead.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and then I think they brought Mr. Dream back for Super Punch-Out.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, the first game's fun for what it is. Second game is both impossible and evil, and somehow I am intrigued by it.
Yeah, I was obsessed. Second grade Josh.
Yeah. Was
obsessed with that game. Like I remember my mom got a note from my second grade teacher because all I would do is talk about Legend of Zelda 2.
Zelda 2.
Zelda 2.
It's the only one in the franchise, if you're not counting the PCI games, which no one counts, it's the only one in the franchise to not have Legend of Zelda in it. It's just Zelda 2 Adventure of Link.
Yep, you're right.
Yes.
Burn.
Yep. Boom!
Wasn't obsessed with the title.
No, apparently you weren't. You were just obsessed with the game itself, which is impossible. I mean, we talk about how hard the first one and Metroid are, but that game was it's actively fighting you to try and do anything in that game.
Yeah, and it's cool because it's top-down and a side-scroller. Like,
it's evil.
Yeah.
It's a mean game.
Yeah.
And yet, I watch speedrunners play that game, and it's amazing. Mm-hmm. There's randomizers of that game that randomize...
Oh, why would you do that to yourself?
Oh, it's beautifully horrifying to watch that in action. Yeah, and there's like chaos randomizers that mix up how many hearts you're going to get and everything else. I'm like, you guys are so good at this game that, like, even if I practiced for 30 years, I'd never be able to play like you at this game. No,
I don't have the patience for that.
And thank you for doing it. So once again, I don't have to. Yeah. But then, of course, you get to the one that everyone has played and everyone loves and everyone has beaten, Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Which is, for me, hands down, the best one in the series.
It has the best story.
Oh.
Definitely.
Great story, great dungeons, great construction. There's a reason why Nintendo went back and revisited it for the Link Between Worlds, which I own, but I still haven't managed to get around to playing because I don't play portable games anymore most of the time. Yeah.
I've never played it either.
Yeah. I know it's supposed to be fantastic. I haven't played it.
Things.
Yeah.
But after Ocarina of Time, I'm not a fan.
Yeah. No, the Link to the Past is a fantastic game. I don't think we can say enough. And it's amazing because it came out so early in the Super Nintendo's life cycle that the graphics are really kind of bad.
Yeah, comparatively to other SNES games.
Yeah,
for sure.
A lot of stuff that came out afterwards is better, but you look at it, it's like this is basically still 4-color palettes, just with a broader range of colors they could use. It's still pretty wretched, which is part of the reason why when they decided to make the fourth game, the Game Boy game, Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Like, the graphics are so good on that one because they basically just did the Super Nintendo graphics again, but in, like, 4-color monochrome. And you realize, wow, these aren't all that different at all from the Super Nintendo.
No, not the same.
Yeah. Link's Awakening isn't as good a game, though.
No.
I didn't like the dungeons as much. I don't even think I beat that one. I think I got to the Windfish, and then it kicked my ass, and I'm like, it's not worth it.
I barely remember playing that game. I know I played it.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty enough for a Game Boy game, and then I was done.
Yeah, I don't remember doing much else with it, though.
No. And I mean, that's pretty much what happened with a lot of the Legend of Zelda games once you get past the Link to the Past for me. Like, I played through Ocarina of Time and didn't like it. I did beat it, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, I thought it was easy. It was a little too easy.
It was a little too boring for me.
Yeah, I did like some of it. Like, you get the horse.
Once you can get the horse as an adult, the game opens up for you and it's actually fun to play. But there's a good 10 hours there at the start where you have to just wander.
Roll towards the next
slowly wander your child ass towards each of the next dungeons and then back to Kakariko and then to the town and then Kakariko and get like molested by the weird zombie things and
I forgot about the weird zombie things.
Oh, the weird zombie things.
But I thought that, like, the Ocarina mechanic was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I missed Majora's Mask. Did you play that one?
I did not.
Okay, so we can't talk about that one. But from what I understand, we didn't miss anything. There are some people who really love that game. And
I tried to play it.
Yeah.
And I was on the hype train from Ocarina of Time still.
Yeah.
And I tried to, and I just couldn't.
I
don't know. I mean, it looked pretty, but for the 64, but it just never hooked me.
Yeah. And then what else was there after that? There was Wind Waker, which
Mhm.
I couldn't get into.
It was okay.
I
But
made it to the Forest Temple, I
I
think.
think it's about as far as I went too. Honestly.
So you and I both played a dungeon and a half into it and then quit.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's your glowing review for that game right there. It's great for the first dungeon and a half.
Something else probably came out that I was more interested in.
You mean anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just was not like there was that damn like dragon boat and there was a wand and I found myself not caring in the slightest. It was pretty to look at, but it wasn't interesting.
Yeah, there's other things out that were better.
And I didn't bother playing any of the like weird like Game Boy sequels to it or anything else that came out, Spirit Tracks or any of that. Like again, I don't portable game.
I played Four Swords because you could hook that up. That one was really awesome.
I did love Four Sword Adventures for the GameCube.
Yep.
And that was the one that I didn't play the one that came with the Link to the Past DX, but I played the one on GameCube, and that was for what it was. That game was an absolute blast.
If you could find 3 people to play it with you, it was even better.
Oh, I played through the solo mode with my sister Mab, and we just rocketed through that game, and it was a great time.
Yeah,
yeah, and that was a nice thing about that. You could play it multiplayer and screw each other over, and it was a good time. Or you could play it single, and it was also fun. Yeah.
It was a good puzzle game.
It was just enjoyable for what it was, which was just dumb rupee collecting and killing things.
Yep.
Yeah.
All I wanted out of Zelda.
Yeah. So, what other ones from there did you play? Like from that era? Because I missed. I skipped all the oracles. I missed Minish Cap.
I played Minish Cap.
Yeah. And
I remember it was called Minish Cap.
That was really memorable then.
It was not memorable at all. I'm pretty sure I beat it too.
Nintendo didn't actually have an active hand in any of those ones. I think they
put their stamp on it and just
Capcom and a third party both developed it, and then that was pretty much all there was to all of those ones.
Link's always felt like one of those Nintendo properties that isn't really a Nintendo property.
There's a lot of games apparently that other people have developed for it. And then you talk about the PCI games, which even Nintendo wants to pretend don't exist, but they're not allowed to get away from those. They put their stamp on them.
Yeah.
Yep. Wand of Gamelon, and one of the only Zelda games where she's actually the playable character. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a couple Link adventures that are also ass. None of them are very good.
No.
No.
There's a reason they don't exist.
They don't
They're in a vault
re-release
with
them.
E.T. on Atari.
Buried in a landfill for all to see.
Someone's personal hell.
Yeah. I mean, I still want to own them at some point just for the sake of owning them in the collection.
They're oddly expensive, I think.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because they only made like 15 copies of each of them. There are as many copies of those games as there are Hawkman fans.
Oh.
Wah, wah.
Well, 1/15 of them are sitting with you.
Yeah, I know. Of the games?
Yes.
So, and then let's skip ahead to any of the other ones you might have played. I tried Twilight Princess. That was the one where you could become the wolf?
Yeah, I played that on... I can't remember if I played on GameCube or Wii, because it was on both.
Oh, they did re-release it. I got it for GameCube, I think.
I played it on the Wii, and at the time it was like the coolest thing, because when you did the bow, like you can hear the snap of the bow in the Wii controller, and I thought that was the coolest thing on the planet. But I didn't get past the horse part at the very beginning because I got bored every
Is that
time.
the one where you get the horse and you have to chase after the wagon? Yeah. My God, you got to the same spot I did again.
Really?
I got pissed off at that.
I couldn't. I was just like, I'm pushing the buttons right.
Yes, I played it like I did that same thing like 10 times. I couldn't get through the wagon chase, and I'm like, screw this game, and I moved on with my life.
Yeah, that's what happened with me too. And
wow.
It was, I think, the first Wii game I picked up, so I always attribute it to the fact that I wasn't used to the controller. And...
I did it on GameCube, but it still sucked.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Because I never went back to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But.
So, and then there was, what was there, Skyward Sword?
I've never played Skyward Sword.
I watched it. It did not look like my kind of game. It looked boring. It looked like all the worst things that have been cropping up in the 3D games from Ocarina onwards, because they all play similar.
Yeah.
That's that stupid C-square system on the side and like those interchangeable items and everything. It's like the Game Boy interface mixed onto a GameCube controller, and that's all of them. Mm-hmm. And it didn't thrill me. No, I watched it. And I'm like, this is not for me. You get to fly around weird little planetoids and horribly play another version of Legend of Zelda. Yay! So
more of the same.
So, but then I know, because I suggested it to you and you picked it up, that Breath of the Wild you've played through.
Yes.
You haven't?
No, I haven't.
Didn't you pick it up?
No.
Dude.
Every time I see it, I hold it in my hands, and my immediate thought is, I don't want to spend $60 on this.
That game is amazing. So, how have you not played it yet?
Well, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy a new Switch game. Oh, Mario Party came out.
Yeah, I would buy Zelda over Mario Party. I would actually, honestly, I will say this. If I didn't own Zelda right now, but I knew what I knew, and Smash Brothers was out at the same point, which Smash Brothers is an automatic buy for me, I'd still buy Zelda first.
What?
As is now evidenced from this podcast, I really don't like the Zelda series past, the first Super Nintendo title.
I like the nostalgia of it more than I like it, I think.
And that's the thing, is while it still feels of a piece with the series, Breath of the Wild does not feel like your standard Zelda game. It's interesting. Now, don't get me wrong, there are parts of it I really hated. There are 4 themed animal dungeons you're supposed to play through to unlock these basically mecha animals to help you fight Ganon and do stuff and gain powers and blah, blah, blah. And while the concept of them was interesting, I couldn't for the life of me figure out the puzzles. I don't know what was wrong with it. I just couldn't think like the Nintendo designers. And every time I had to look it up online to figure out the solutions were, I felt like an idiot afterwards. I'm like, oh, is that what I was supposed to do? Well, the game didn't train me in any way, shape, or form to do that, so la 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 la.
Yeah.
But,
I've heard that from other people too.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what GameFAQs is for. I go there and I get what I need and I beat the game. And that's done. Yeah.
You don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, but no, they're just being able to go into the world and open world explore it and see all the weird little temples and everything and play a bunch of mini dungeons and get powers and just goof around for easily 80 hours in the game. Yeah. That was fun. That was a blast.
Cool, but my biggest problem with Zelda though, and what I always think of whenever I hold a Zelda game in my hands, such as Breath of the Wild, first thing I think of is, what the hell is the story continuity?
Oh, there isn't one.
Yeah.
There absolutely isn't one.
And I know there isn't.
Yeah.
But I try to figure out where it goes with all the, couple dozen games at this point.
I agree with you. Well, yeah, when the creators officially recognized the fact that at some point the game series splits into 3 separate timelines, just so they can fit random games on random timelines, and then Breath of the Wild doesn't take place somehow on any of them.
Yeah, I know it's a kind of minor gripe.
No, it's not a minor gripe. I fully and wholeheartedly agree with you, start to finish.
But when you need a flowchart poster to figure out what you're playing...
Well, okay, and I know you can't, speak to this the way that I can because you haven't written the same website twice over, but, I mean, Castlevania, which is one of my favorite game series of all time, is getting almost as bad at this point, because you got the mainline title, and then you have, a prequel to everything that somehow reboots a different prequel out of continuity, and then you have an entire side series that now exists in a completely separate continuity but references the same characters, but they're different characters. Yeah. Plus they have a title that exists at the far-flung future that features very different versions of all the characters, but somehow supposed to be the same characters, plus a game that doesn't take place in any continuity and just features all the characters. It's almost as bad as Zelda, and it's supposed to have a tight continuity. Plotted. Yeah. And it's bad. Metroid is better at this point for tight continuity, and even it has some of its issues.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I know you love that series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're a Metroid fan.
Yeah, and Mega Man. But Mega Man's easy. It's you have Mega Man 1 through 11 and Mega Man X.
Okay, so how do the Game Boy games fit in?
They're just remakes of 1 through 11.
But they're not.
But they are.
But they're not.
But they're not.
But they're not. They're not.
But they aren't.
But they're not. And of course, then you have the Battle Network games, which are separate continuity entirely.
Oh, I forgot about those. Oh.
See, you mentioned Mega Man. You went there.
No, and then you have Trombone, which is a whole different thing.
The Legends games that are part of the continuity, but also aren't. I even forget they exist.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Never mind. So anyway, Zelda is stupid. I don't think Zelda's stupid.
No. No, I like them. And I mean, if nothing else, all the various versions of Zelda and Links and Zeldas and all that are characters and Ganon and all that have given us a lot of versions of the character to play in Super Smash Bros., which totally worth it in that regard.
Yeah.
And I mean, as much as I might have issues with the Legend of Zelda series throughout the most part, I did like Breath of the Wild, and Blue Tunic Link looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
He's fantastic. Yeah. He's great, and I'm looking forward to playing him in the new Smash Brothers Ultimate that's coming out.
Oh, me too. I got mine pre-ordered.
I don't pre-order.
Plug.
I don't pre-order. But I will probably pick it up before January because I want the free Piranha Plant character that they've announced.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, it looks like a good time.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Zelda. So, your favorite is Link to the Past?
Whew. Yeah, it's a Link to the Past.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's all around the most solid of the few that I've played.
Yeah, the few that you've played. The few that you've made it through, certainly.
Made it through, yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of games in that series that I don't think we're going to be out of line saying are largely, not unplayable, but not worth playing.
Yeah. It's just, I know there's a very large and vocal
contingent.
Yeah. And I know we're not exactly making a lot of friends by saying it, but it's
okay. If we want to be fair, if I want to play a Zelda game, I'm gonna go play Secret of Mana.
Oh, that's a whole different conversation.
Well, I mean, but I want an action RPG that allows me to explore dungeons in real time, collect weapons, do cool things with it, and then have fun playing it. I'm gonna go play Secret of Mana.
Yeah, that's why A Link to the Past was the perfect Zelda game.
Yeah. Nice Super Nintendo game, just the right length, good mix of items. Actually,
good soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
soundtrack was amazing.
Although, okay, where do you fall? Light World or Dark World as far as the dungeon theme?
Light.
Good man, that's where I'm at. Yeah, I love the overworld theme from the Dark World, but I think the dungeon theme in the Light World is better.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I mean, that's because I said it.
Yeah, you do. You do. So. All right, well, that was Legend of Zelda. Apparently a shorter version of this podcast than we did the last time for Star Wars. Although I've now put them in order, so I have to release them that way.
Yeah.
Oh, womp,
well, I mean, it was better than our Battlestar Galactica one.
This has been Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein.
And I'm Josh Schaefer.
And we will see you next time.
Bye.